Olá, sejam todos e todos muito bem-vindos aqui às mídias sociais da Editora Vozes. Nós estamos na Livraria Vozes, aqui no centro de São Paulo. Meu nome é Luiz Mauro, eu sou professor e tenho a alegria e a honra de ser autor de alguns livros aqui pela editora, mas hoje eu estou aqui para conversar com um autor recém-publicado aqui pela Editora Vozes, o professor Kostika Brajacan, autor do livro O Elogio do Fracasso. Esse livro que é um lançamento aqui da Vozes, um livro bastante provocador, como o próprio título já sugere, e a gente vai conversar sobre a temática do livro, sobre o processo de escrita, sobre as principais ideias que ele trabalha no livro, para a gente ter uma visão, uma perspectiva mais global do que significa essa ideia do fracasso. Afinal, numa sociedade onde a gente valoriza tanto o sucesso, um livro sobre o fracasso chama muito a atenção. O professor Kostika gentilmente aceitou esse nosso convite para vir aqui. Ele é professor na área de humanas, principalmente na disciplina de filosofia, na Universidade Texas Tech University, e a gente vai conversar sobre as ideias do livro. O nosso bate-papo vai ser em inglês, falando aqui com o professor Kostika. Eu vou traduzir as perguntas e depois a gente vai ter uma legenda feita aí pelo pessoal da Voz. Então, fica aqui com a gente para a gente poder entender o que significa esse fracasso. Afinal, todas e todos nós já fracassamos em alguma coisa. Talvez mais do que o sucesso, o fracasso seja alguma coisa mais comum que nos une, talvez até como espécie. Kostika, seja bem-vindo. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you here. Obrigado por vir aqui com a gente. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Eu tenho algumas perguntas sobre o seu livro. I have a few questions about your book. And I'm going to ask in English and then translate in Portuguese. And please feel free to answer in English. There are plenty of books concerning success and how to achieve it. Any bookshop you get in, you see a high pile of books. How to achieve success, have a very good life. Why did you choose to write about the opposite? Perguntei para ele, em qualquer livraria que você entra nas mídias digitais, tem sempre um monte de livros falando do sucesso, como atingir o sucesso, como ter uma vida de sucesso. Diante disso, por que ele escolheu falar do fracasso?
Well, in a way, you answer the question, because the answer is in the question itself. I chose to write on failure precisely because there are so many books on success. I tend to go against the stream normally in whatever I do. If everybody's moving in one direction, I typically try to move in the opposite direction. That's one reason. But then it's not superficial, it's just personal. I'm very interested in non-conformity. And even right now I'm writing a book called Against Conformity. It's quite serious book. But then more profoundly, I thought failure deserves better treatment, a more serious treatment. And the way in which it's being treated in those books is superficial, is not that relevant, is kind of directed. There's a lot of misrepresentation there. Failure is not a stepping stone to success. Failure is something much deeper. Failure is not something that happens to us, accidentally. Failure is within us. We are born with it. We are born to fail. We are designed to fail. It's something much deeper. It's part of us, some kind of in a structural way. And that's why I thought it deserves a better, more serious treatment.
Right, absolutely right. Another question. Your book is about failure, but actually it's a very readable book. It's not pessimistic. Is there a difference in having a life approach that contemplates failure and a pessimistic life approach? Perguntei para ele que o livro é sobre a falha, né, sobre o fracasso, mas não é um livro pessimista, ao contrário do que se poderia talvez imaginar. Então perguntei para ele se tem alguma diferença entre a ideia de fracasso e uma visão muito pessimista da vida.
Well, the subject itself, failure, is already pessimistic. There's no doubt. It's dark. It's unpleasant. You don't want to typically people stay away, are turned off. When you start talking about failure, people are not exactly interested. They would rather hear about something else. That's why I chose a method of delivery, storytelling, and engaging with characters and all kinds of literary devices to make this subject, this unpleasant subject, a bit more pleasant.
Right, it works.
It works. I hope.
Yes, it's a very enjoyable book. When you read it, you don't feel you're reading about failure in a way that depressed you.
Right. It was a deliberate choice to please to please, or let me say, to reward the reader. The reader is going through a difficult book, a dark book, thematically. But I wanted to give them something, like some kind of reward. Look, you've done this. You've gone through this hell. Let me give you this small gift.
Very well, muito bem. Eu perguntei para ele, eu falei que o livro realmente não é um livro que deixa você triste no final. Apesar de ser sobre o fracasso, não é um livro que você acaba e fala, meu Deus, não aguento mais, vou ter que assistir uma comédia para melhorar o humor. Não, e ele falou justamente isso, sabe? Sobre escrever um livro sobre o fracasso que não deixa você triste. Another question from my list. Failure seems to be a sort of ghost haunting contemporary society. The very idea of being a loser is frequently shown in the media as something to avoid. Is there any way to avoid being a loser? Is failure really so bad?
Failure is neither bad nor good. Failure is real. It just happens. Like life happens, like death happens. The problem is what can be bad or good is the way in which we frame failure. And we are normally, we tend to frame things in a way that makes us better equipped to live and survive and perform in the world. If, as part of that, we need to push failure under carpet, we'll do that because we are set up in such a way, we are wired in such a way as to maximize our chances of survival and so on. And typically, avoidance of failure is part of that because it makes us unhappy, it makes us less productive, it makes us depressed and so on to think of failure. However, when you are involved with philosophy, with spirituality, with religion and so on, those things are unavoidable. You have to face it. You have to look it in the face. There's no way to avoid. We do that in the kind of the popular culture, the avoidance of failure. We'll do that in the popular culture, in our daily conversations, in literature, in fiction, whatever. But when it comes to the last thing, the real things, we cannot afford. If we do, we miss a lot. We miss the chance to understand ourselves better, to encounter ourselves in a way. So by avoiding to talk about failure, we avoid to encounter our deeper selves in a certain sense. So we have to do it. We have to do it.
Right. Eu perguntei para ele, numa sociedade, a nossa sociedade parece ser assombrada pelo fantasma do fracasso. A própria ideia de você ser um fracassado é algo que nos assusta, nos chama muito a atenção. E perguntei se o fracasso, se a falha é realmente tão ruim. Well, going ahead. Vou fazer uma pergunta para ele agora sobre a escrita do livro, perguntando como é que foi o processo de escrita, se demorou, se ele tem uma rotina de escrita, porque afinal, até os livros acadêmicos e teóricos também têm uma história. Talking about the writing process, how long did you take to write the book? Do you have a writing routine? How do you plan to, I'm going to write a book about failure, and was it born actually?
Well, writing this book on failure involved a lot of failure because I'm a slow writer. It took me a long time. I missed the deadline with several years. I'm not disciplined. I'm not well organized. I'm not. It was a strange process. Eventually, I managed to do it, but there are different points in time when I had serious doubts. So I don't have a routine. Things happen, but it took me a long time, much longer than I planned and the editor wanted.
Right. How many years would it have?
Some 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of work there.
Whoa, great.
I'm a very slow writer.
Wow, but it rewards, it pays for itself. Eu vou perguntar para ele uma curiosidade que eu já ouvi essa pergunta de alunas e alunos, por isso eu estou aqui só reproduzindo, a ideia não é minha. O Elogio do Fracasso, o livro, ele é um livro que trata de temas complexos, mas de uma maneira legível. E eu vou perguntar para o professor Costica como é que é esse trabalho de traduzir ideias complicadas de uma maneira que a gente consiga entender, simples, mas não simplista. Although you deal with a very complex subject, this is not a very difficult book. And my question is, how is it possible to write about complex subjects in a readable way? Is there a formula or something, or a tip would you offer to new writers?
Simplicity is maybe the most difficult thing. It took me a while. I started out as an academic writer. I went through the desert of, not for 40 years, but I wandered quite a bit before I hopefully reached some kind of formula of clear, limpid writing. It's something I wanted to have, to end up with. It's something I aspire to, and I'm happy to hear from you that it works. I do think that so my field is humanities, right? Which comes from human, right? From the human being. I do believe that the humanities should be able to formulate every problem, no matter how complex, in a manner that's accessible to ordinary human beings. So that's the core of that's the key to this stylistic choice for this book.
Well, that's great, very, very concerning. Well, two final questions. Eu vou perguntar agora para o professor Costica como tem sido a recepção, a resposta que ele tem de acadêmicos e do público em relação ao livro dele. E, como nós estamos aqui com a versão em português do livro, uma outra pergunta: como é ser traduzido numa língua estrangeira? É uma curiosidade aqui para a gente entender até esse processo aqui com a editora. Então, how have been the reception of the book? How have been the book received by the critics, the academics, and the general public?
To my shame, I have to say that it has been received pretty well. It's a book on failure, but it hasn't failed. I don't know what that means. So it's been doing well. It's been in the United States when it came out, was reviewed in some major newspapers. It got some awards. I started to wonder maybe there's something wrong with the book because it's enjoying a bit of success, and it's being translated in many places.
No, that's great. Good reviews. And...
I don't know why. The topic is sexy. The topic itself. People are curious. Many readers come to the book and go back disappointed because it's not what they expect. They would rather go and read a book that delivers something else, like failure as a stepping stone to success.
Oh, right.
That's the kind of expectation they have, precisely because they've been kind of preconditioned to expect that kind of book.
Yeah. And what do you think is the main challenge of being translated into a foreign language?
Well, that challenge is not mine, it's the translator's challenge.
Right.
We should have had the translator of the book here. It's interesting. I'm really pleased because, like most people in Brazil, I guess, most young people in Brazil, I grew up with translations. I was growing in a minor culture in Romania where when I was a kid and later I didn't have access to books in other languages. I had to read in translation. Later on I learned some languages myself, but for a long time I would use translations, and I was connected to what was going on outside the country via different translations. So when the book was translated into those languages, it's been some 11 languages so far, I was very happy, very pleased, and I had the chance to work. I don't know Portuguese, for example, but I do know Italian or Romanian, so I had the chance to work with those translators more closely. And it was a very interesting process because you'd see each language responds differently to the topic. In English, it's so easy. You have one word for failure, but you have in others, you have different words. And it's such a rich, depending on what kind of failure, depending on who is failing and so on. So it was quite an experience. I managed to read the Romanian and the Polish, the Italian translations as they are being produced, as those translators were working on them. And it was quite an interesting experience.
That's great. Well, Costica, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming here in São Paulo downtown. And I'm looking forward for your next book, Against Conformism.
Yeah, me too.
Agradecer ao professor Costica por estar aqui com a gente, aqui na Livraria Vozes, no centro de São Paulo. Queria também agradecer a vocês que assistiram aqui o nosso vídeo, estão participando das nossas mídias sociais. Convido todo mundo para ler o livro, que é realmente muito provocador, muito legal, e uma leitura que vai contra o senso comum que a gente encontra em tantos lugares e de tantas maneiras. Agradecer a presença dele, queria também agradecer à Editora Vozes por abrir esse espaço aqui para a gente, e acho que uma das palavras mais bonitas, né, de quase todas as línguas, obrigado, thank you very much.
Obrigado.